Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Game Club. It's the third Saturday of the month, and this
No, it's
month
not.
we are going to be talking about. It's the fourth Saturday of the month. We're talking about the sexy Brutale. Let's talk about our platforms as we go around the room. I'm your host Boston. I tried to play this on the Switch. Joining me as always is Moonpeer
Hello, Xbox One X.
and Musum.
Well, I went YouTube because I also tried to play it on the Switch.
Yes, I also went YouTube, unfortunately. Let's get all the details about the game out of the way. Released on April 12th, 2017, published and developed by Tequila Works. This came out on PS4, PC, Xbox One, and Switch. Metacritic is 83, OpenCritic is 81. Peers for the release date, we kind of have a murderer's row here. Persona 5, Yooka-Laylee, Flint Hook, Dragon Quest Heroes 2, Puyo Puyo Tetris, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So
like 3 good games.
Yeah, like 3 multi-million selling games. The question we ask every month, top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked?
Middle of the pack. Because this thing was talked about, but it was talked about in that indie darling kind of way, I feel like.
For like a month or two?
Yeah, it was like it wasn't the next coming of Indie Jesus or anything like that, but
it was a lot of people's 7 and 8s in their top 10 list that year.
Like, it piqued a lot of curiosity, shall we say.
Yeah. I remember hearing a lot on Giant Beast Cast about it. Like,
Vinny adores this thing.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the game itself, what we liked and what we didn't like. I want to talk about the Switch version here at the first. Switch version...
We'll start with what we didn't like, shall we?
The thing I didn't like is I couldn't play the game. The Switch version runs flawlessly in the tutorial. It's great. As soon as you get out of the tutorial, I am not exaggerating here, moving from room to room is a 5 to 10 second load time. Every time you go into another room, which sort of important in this game overall. The frame rate struggles to hit 15 or 20.
Yep.
And in my researching, I found Tequila Works tweeted about it. They said, quote, "I just said we released a patch and we did our best to make it work. If you want to play it or not, it is your choice." End quote. Also, fun reminder, Nintendo doesn't offer refunds. So,
I did not know that.
Flush $20 right down the drain. Which is why I didn't play this, because I'm not going to buy it on another platform just to make it work. And it's not available on Game Pass, so I didn't play it. Which is
pretty much
really frustrating. Because I was hoping to, like Obra, I was hoping to play a cool puzzle game in bed at night and kind of enjoy it.
It honestly even colored my viewing of watching it on YouTube, because I was just angry at it the whole time for taking my $20 and like looking it up online. This is a problem that has gone on since it released. Like that patch was like 2 years ago or something like that.
They put out a patch 2 years ago and they're like, frame rate issues are fixed. There you go. And everyone's like, no. And they're like, you're welcome. Bye. It's like, wait.
Please tell me, do you guys have at least gone back into the Nintendo store and rated it 1 star and left a comment saying this does not work, do not buy?
You can't do either of those things.
Nintendo!
No, you can't rate games and you can't leave comments.
Don't get me wrong. I understand kind of the approach to that, because you don't want review bombing and you don't want, shall we say,
inappropriate content. Like, this game is bleep and bleep and bleep bleep. It's like, oh god. My children.
But the rating system can be useful as long as it's moderated, which, let's face it, most places do kind of moderate. I'm not looking at you, Steve.
As long as you stop review bombing, those can be really useful. Because if I would have gone into the Switch store and saw like 700 people rated it and it has a half star, I'd be like, okay, I need to research this then.
Yeah. It's by far the worst Switch port I've ever played.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I haven't played them all, but
but I feel like
this will guarantee that I Google whatever game we play each month before I purchase it on Switch.
100%.
And honestly, like Skyrim and Witcher 3 can run on Switch. These guys could have figured out.
Literally about to say that exact
yeah,
thing.
Like, and honestly, it's gonna stop me from being interested or playing in a lot of Tequila Works games. Because if they had said like, we tried patching it and like it's just the game is just really heavy and the engine is really heavy for the Switch. Instead, they're like, yeah, we really tried. It's up to you if you bought it, whatever. You know, it's just like that. That sucks, guys. Which is a real bummer because after watching it on YouTube, I think I would have really liked this game. Another watch-based time travel.
You probably would have liked it. Honestly, the thing that annoys me the most is this is a game that you two would have loved to play.
Yep. It would be nice if it would come to Game Pass at some point, because I would like to actually play through it, but I don't want to spend another $20. Mm-hmm. I don't want to purchase a game again, basically.
Pretty much.
I already do that with Destiny, and that's already a problem we're not talking about right now. But yeah, Moon, what'd you think of the Sexy Brutale?
Let's just get this out the way. I have an Xbox One X.
Mm-hmm.
The most powerful console available.
Mm-hmm. For 2 more months.
For a month and change.
Yeah, right, a month and a half.
It struggled.
Oh, wow, really?
Towards the latter end of the game, like not at the start. At the start of the tutorial, smooth as silk.
Yep.
The first couple of people that you save, absolutely fine. When you get to those last 3, then it starts getting framey when you're going through doors. Then it starts to struggle with frame rate when you're in like particularly busy rooms. And
so play it on PC is probably our recommendation.
Yeah.
Maybe they just need some more programmers or something.
Yeah, like, put that 3080 to work and play Sexy Brutale.
Get a port house.
Sure. Like, get Bluepoint
and
on this thing.
Not the port house that did Bloodstained.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure wasn't it Bluepoint who did the Metal Gear collection for the 360?
I believe so. They've done like every single one of the good ones.
Mm-hmm. Like those two were incredible, and if you can get those nightmares running like crisp and clean 60 on a 360,
right? Some wizards, yeah.
But I mean, the whole time I was playing this, before I spoke to you last week in regards to this Boston, the whole time I was playing this, so the 2 hours I put into it before last week, I was thinking, this is a Boston and Musum game.
Yeah,
this is going to be one of those games where I'm going to be the one who takes this thing by its bootstraps and drags it into the mud because this is not my kind of game.
Sure,
and it's not.
What part about it isn't your jam?
Honestly, it's the point and click thing. It feels like an old school point and click adventure, and as listeners to the regular show might know, I had a very bad experience with one of those earlier this year.
It's not a genre that clicks with you at all.
No, like I've tried the old FMV ones. I don't watch the Beastcast folks with Vinny do playthroughs of those games because I hate those games.
Right? It's
I can't even stand watching them.
It's like me with crafting survival games, where it's like, oh, it has crafting and survival. I gotta go. I'm out. I gotta go.
Yeah, that's just because you haven't found your one yet. As soon as you find your one, it will speak to you.
It's out there in the wide world of video games somewhere.
If they added crafting and survival to Destiny, like you've crashed a ship on an alien planet,
100% in. Let's go. Let's do this.
Exactly. They put a roguelike in the Division. I'm sure they can do that.
Yeah, roguelike in Division is pretty good.
I mean, it's not a bad game. Like I will say, like actually playing through it, it's not bad, and it's not this is going to be particularly confusing phrasing. It's not an unenjoyable game.
Right.
I quite liked certain aspects of it. Like I do like the time travel thing. I'm a sucker for a good time loop.
Yep.
Like, Dead Rising being a prime example of that.
Well, and this is sort of coming on the heels of another pocket watch based time travel game. So like,
yes,
you know,
we have a theme apparently. This year. But no, it was okay to play. I love the style of it. Like I do think the art style is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The music is something particularly fantastic. Like the
Yep.
fact that it's got that old school casino music actually down to a perfect T.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time it was like certain leaps of logic always get me. Like feeding that stupid medallion. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to know exactly what fishy stupid thing do? And that, yes.
That feels very much like an old school point click adventure thing where it's like, how was I supposed to know? It's like you're playing the designer instead of playing the game. That's always the old criticism. It's like, how was I supposed to know that without just trying everything at every point in the day?
Yeah.
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 Like it was, like I said, it wasn't a bad game for me. It was extremely middle of the road is the best way I can describe it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not a genre that speaks to me, but this isn't Thimbleweed Park, and it didn't outright offend me at any particular point. Like Thimbleweed Park, the Kickstarter game that to solve one of the final puzzles you need to go and watch the Kickstarter video for. By the way,
right. By the by, talking about BS in a game.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think I was expecting, based on the rest of the game, I don't think I was expecting this game in the end to sort of deal with the meaning of loss and grief in the way that it did. It was sort of, through the rest of it, is sort of like, oh yeah, like all these people died, and I thought it was going to be this murder mystery sort of thing, and it turned out to be like, no, you're just carrying around like a boatload of grief, and this is how your three personalities have dealt with it. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Actually, this is a much more detailed of a story than I think I was expecting.
Yeah, like it's got a lot of heart to it, and it's got a lot of charm to it. But heart and charm comes from like the art design team, from the writers. And apparently the programmers just sat there and ate cheese pizza the whole time because they couldn't be bothered porting it accurately to different consoles.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like it was an okay game. I'm not going to sit here and say it offended me at any particular point. I'm not going to lie. At the very end of the game, like when it was like Lucas, I was like, I was thinking to myself, Bueller the whole time.
Right.
Well, I couldn't help but think to myself, you've done the one thing that I hate. You've thrown a twist in with zero hints about it. Like,
right. Other than like
twist, it's just a swerve.
Other than like each character's names are close to each other, but not to the point where you're like, boy, those two characters' names are like pretty close. It's like, no, this like Lufarfico guy is like, oh, I was supposed to guess that. Okay. And like the game does a really interesting like Mega Man style sort of thing where it's like you saved this person, and you took their mask, and now you can talk to ghosts, and now you can shatter windows and stuff like that. But it was never really transformative for the game. It was just like, now you can get to this part, or now you can solve this puzzle, but it's just the next one you're going to solve.
I gotta tell you, from the intro of the game, I thought it was going to get way complicated with like time travel stuff, and it stayed super basic for the most part.
Yep.
It seemed like, at least.
It's the same thing with the powers, like Boston said. Like you feel like you're about to go down this Metroidvania thing, where it's like, oh, okay, now if I go back to this beginning area, I can find out a different hint that will lead me to the identity of this person or whatever. But no, that doesn't happen at all. What actually just happens is it gives you a stupid playing card, which is a collectible.
Right. And like you can just solve the next puzzle in the next area, which you're gonna do anyway. So
yeah.
Like,
out of curiosity, like Musum, did anything stand out to you during your watch through?
I had mixed feelings about the art style. Like I liked it, but I feel like
rooms specifically. Like I'm not a fan of the people, but the rooms I think all look like the design of the rooms look cool.
I think if they just had some budget for facial, like just a little bit of facial animation, I feel like that would have improved the people. for the most part, I did really enjoy the kind of electro swing soundtrack they had going.
Yeah.
At times, it was a little bit like, come on, give me a different beat or a feel for a minute. But they seem like they varied it up enough in terms of just having their one really energetic song and then doing all their soundtrack pieces that I think it worked out. And
like every time you went into a new area, it would change it up, and it would be a different song for each area, basically. So then you'd know when you were in like the casino area or the casino zone or like the gardens or whatever. Now I sound like I'm talking about the Crystal Maze, and I just realized that's an English reference that neither of you two guys will get.
I know that one, but I was also thinking of Sonic, where it's like, oh yeah, the Crystal Zone and the Garden Hill Zone, and yeah.
I don't know. I could see a world where I played this and enjoyed it, but I don't see a world where I think it's like a masterpiece or makes a top 10 list.
Right, and it's especially like over on TVGP when we do our top 10 of the year, we talk about like best old game. Like it's a game, and a lot of that list is sourced from stuff we play here because in Game Club we focus on old games in general. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like even if we hadn't played something like Obra Dinn this year, I don't see this one being like winning that spot.
Yeah, I will say like the time loop deal with solving the murders, I thought was a real creative kind of angle to go for the game. I feel like the tone of the game does not match at all like what you were saying earlier about the ending Boston with like the stuff. Like there's just no, I don't feel like all the elements kind of come together for that as well as they should have.
Yeah, because spoilers for anyone that's listening, like by the time they get to the end, it's sort of like, oh well, here's your wife, and wait, you blew up this casino place with everyone in it because you wired up the explosives wrong in a failed insurance attempt. Like it's just sort of like, oh, okay, cool. And then here are the three parts of you that's torturing this other person. It's just like, wow. Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. Super creative angle. It just, I feel like
I said, there's no hints, there's no build to it, there's nothing like that. Like it's the old Vince Russo. It's the old swerve for a swerve's sake without actually building any of that tension beforehand to figure out who they all are.
Yeah, because it should be sprinkling this stuff throughout. Like as you save someone, there should be like one line or a couple of words where nothing is what it seems. Obviously it isn't because you're fixing time, but there should be some hints about here's what happened, or I thought I heard an explosion before I eventually passed out. There's something that's sort of leading you towards that.
Yeah. I mean, mechanically, I think it's a solid idea as well.
Yeah.
Like the whole not being able to be in the same room, no direct contact with anybody. Like the fact that you can track people using your map and scrub through the time thing to see their paths, and you've got to get to the murder and then work your way backwards. I think is a very cool idea, and then figure out along that path where you can stop the murder from happening was pretty cool.
I did enjoy like the keyhole stuff too,
I like that
mechanic. I thought was done well.
And I think from a gameplay perspective, I really like that the game, once you solve the murder, the game doesn't waste your time. Like in the tutorial one, when you put that blank in that gun, it just, at that point you've solved the murder, so it just fast forwards to the point where the blank doesn't fire and like you've solved it. So it's not,
it does that for all of them.
Yeah, and like
as soon as you solve it, it's just like, yep, here's the cutscene.
Yeah, like it doesn't have you wait for the rest of the time or go to the place. It just solves it. I think that's really great.
Like, there's some really good ideas here.
Yeah,
like genuinely good ideas, and probably again interesting phrasing here. It's just the execution that lets it down a little bit.
Hey-o. Yeah, it just all doesn't come together. Like you said, there's a couple of cool ideas here, but not 100% there, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts here before we talk about our next game?
Yeah,
interesting.
Really.
Like, it's interesting. And honestly, if they hadn't sounded like total D-bags on Twitter, I'd be probably looking forward to their next game.
Yeah.
But the fact that their solution to having a giant problem like that.
And they're just like brushing their hands off and being like, all right, see ya, suckers.
Yeah, especially on the X. Like,
right.
X has issues too, and it's just like, no, dude, like, this is the X. Like, have you seen the frame rate I can get for games which cost probably around about 70,000 times more than yours did?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an x86 chipset. Like, I mean, they could have entered. Oh, okay. I guess they couldn't have, because I don't think Game Pass was around when this released. But like the whole Game Pass program, like once you enroll as an indie developer, and I say this as someone whose team of people making a game is, we're kind of dead in the water in that process, but we're in the middle of the process of trying to publish through Game Pass and Xbox, and it's mainly on us on that end. But like, they have people like do quality assurance on your game and come back with you with comments and such. Like,
just says like, hey, this game runs like a turd, and it's like, oops, that's on me.
I'm upset now. I don't think I'm going to blacklist these guys for life. I think the reality is, if they come out with another game and it hits one of the game sites that I regularly check, then I'll read the review and then I'll research, the console on how well it does there before I purchase.
Yeah, it's a really once bitten, twice shy with them, where it's like, I mean, maybe you can get it together for another one, but like, this is kind of a black mark.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that sounds like it's going to depend on customer service, like if their next game is a games of service game, I'm immediately out. Just based on that.
For me, it's the FIFA rule. You buy one every 3 years, and you better be happy with that.
Exactly. Right. All right, let's talk about our next game. This one needs no introduction. We're going to play Super Metroid.
What's that?
And who's the Super what now? Mostly because Moon and I have never played this. I think I have fired it up on an emulator back in the day, but like I don't know if I have played a single minute of this. And it's, as someone who loves Metroidvanias, sort of a point of shame for me, where it's like, this is sort of the progenitor of the title and the genre. So
I mean, we were talking about it like pre-show, like we literally covered one half of the formula. We did Symphony.
That's right. Might as well do the other.
I've only played the intro of this. I played the intro multiple times, but for some reason or another, I always just fight the first boss or two and then fall off and then mean to go back to it.
I'm not trying to throw shade when I say this, but isn't that you with every single game you play?
Yeah, probably. I don't. In my mind, like if I've spent so many hours in a game to justify whatever I paid for it, then I'm good.
Right.
Because it was like Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah, I've played the first section a lot.
Yeah.
Super Metroid, I played the first section a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of great games coming out.
I'll record a clip of me saying that and just play that anytime I go into a game.
Right. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna play that. Thankfully, it's a shorter one because we'll have a shorter month this month. And
sorry, my fault.
No, that's okay. I mean, we're just.
I was in the woods, and then I came back from
the woods. I was in the woods.
Sexy Brutale for like a week straight.
I had to go to a casino and figure out a murder. Took me a little bit longer. Yeah. All right, so that's it for this month. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.